approaching Halloween and All Saints Day and All Souls Day, I reflect back on a couple traditions that my family really enjoys. One of them has to do with educating my children about the saints at their developmental level. I have a 3-year-old, a 6-year-old, and an 8-year-old. So one thing we like to do that we really kind of just stumbled upon in the last couple of years was making sure that children knew who their patron saint was. And we did that by looking up all of the feast days of the entire family. So that in and of itself was an activity. But the kids got really excited about it. And then, to make it even more special, but moms, let's be honest, not a lot of work on my part, we decided to do something that our family already does every day, but make it special on that day, which was have dinner. So on my children's feast, their patron saint's feast day, each child gets to pick the dinner menu. We don't go out. It's very simple. We keep it very simple for our busy life at this point with the kids in the stages that they are and the activities that they're in, and my husband coming home from work right as we're sitting down for dinner most days. So it sounds a little funny that like St. Francis of Assisi is celebrated with chicken nuggets on any given day, but that's kind of how we do things. And so when we come up on All Saints Day, the day after Halloween, we really do kind of recall this tradition. And we talk about, hey, Zachary, what dinner are you going to want on your feast, on the feast day of your patron saint? And we kind of talk about it. So it's fun, it's easy, and it really helps the kids have a piqued interest in their patron saint. Again, something that even a 3-year-old can do. That's kind of, you know, where the chicken nuggets or the hot dogs come in. But again, it's something we do as a family. Also, I'm reminded of a tradition, a long-standing tradition that my family has enjoyed over generations when it comes to All Souls Day. And it's something we actually do a few times a year, but we always think about it and reflect on it when we are remembering those relatives of ours who have passed. Decades ago, my grandmother started walking in the town cemetery and watering flowers and taking care of the graves of her relatives and friends who had gone before her. Well, soon enough, my parents would join her. And when my parents had children, we would all join her. So we'd literally go for family walks. And as children, I remember feeling like it was kind of a fun place to run around and just get fresh air and spend time with my family. And then I learned some awesome stories about my relatives who had passed. And then I realized as a young adult, and I was still doing this with my family even though I was not living with my parents at the time. I was out on my own and working. When I came back into the town I grew up in, I'd always visit the cemetery. And unfortunately, more family members were there to visit. However, it's a tradition that we have had. And now that I have children, even I remember when my children were infants in the infant carrier, we would go, my husband and I would take the kids and put the infant carrier next to the headstone. And we brought the kids up in the last 8 years that we've been parents, telling the stories that my grandmother told me about our relatives, our ancestors. And so it's a family tradition, like I said, where we would go on these walks. Well, my kids now call it Cemetery Park, which is kind of funny because at one point one of my children asked where the slide was. So it's not necessarily, you can call it what you want. However, it's a tradition that our family really enjoys and has done because it honors the souls of our family members who have passed. It also helps my children understand the rich history of our family. And then it always sparks a conversation about heaven, about dying, about Jesus, about being with our Lord. So as we come to Halloween, however you may or may not celebrate Halloween, when the hullabaloo that you might have is over, any costumes might be put away, or trick-or-treating or holiday parties at school are done, I encourage you to think about All Saints Day and All Souls Day in any simple and developmentally appropriate way that you can teach your kids both about the saints as well as about family members who have gone before them. Until next time.